Welcome to episode 83 of the Jez and Friends podcast. I do apologise, everyone. This is the first episode of the year with Max. I said in March I'd get started, but I was a bit lazy. So, it's been, 5 months since we've had an episode. Sincere apologies. The motivation is not at the best, but anyway, we'll get started. So Max is a good mate from Spark Event Group, who, we both work together. We've worked at the Grand Prix a few weeks ago, Oz Open. Any other events you recall?
No, I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, we worked at Kevin Hart, maybe?
Kevin Hart.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah. That was pretty sick. And with the event stuff, it's not just it doesn't feel like work sometimes. Can you talk me through the different roles and responsibilities you've done so far?
So we work for the same company, Spark, and I've done a range of different roles. So at the Australian Open, I worked patron services. So I was looking after spectators and fans, sort of guiding them through where to sit and how they what was if they had any questions, I was sort of answering them. And then for the Formula One, I was doing the same thing. So there's patron services, looking at tickets, making sure people were sitting in the right seats. And then I've also worked operations through Spark as well. So this is more physical work. So
how heavy are the things you're carrying?
It could be up to 30 kilos. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But it's all I'm really lucky because it's a really good company.
Yeah.
And they've got a range of different events. So it's not like you're working the same one area. You're moving around Melbourne, and I even worked in Geelong for a week as well. They gave me free accommodation, and they they gave me
no complaints.
Yeah, it's not bad money as well.
Yeah, and how about with that? We have funny stories later on, but do you have any funny stories you recall from Spark? I remember the Oz Open, it was 40-degree weather, and we had to hang around for 2 hours just standing there, even though the spectators were allowed to, take a breather.
Yeah, I was just on the 40 degrees day. On the, I think it was the second day. Yeah, I was just roaming around outside all day for 12 hours. And so I was just burning, And I had to we couldn't sit inside, so we were just, me and my colleague were just outside, we were just burning, it was bad.
Nah, that's cool, man. And
you basically, I was in my last corner, so I got a great view of all the cars going past, and it was really cool.
The issue I think we both had, some patrons were maybe too energetic, or I don't know how to describe it. But
a lot of drunk people there as well. A lot of people drinking, going out, coming back, and then going out to the bar and coming back.
Yeah, and I found that for me, a lot of people were asking for lanyards. Did you have that a little bit, for the purple ones, or
what the
the Formula One lanyards to attach on the tickets and all that?
I had a few people. I had a few people trying to sneak in as well. They people who didn't have a ticket. They just try to jump straight in, and they just, because some of the seats I was on were $600 for the race, or $600 for the race, and people were trying to sneak in all the time, and
because it's a VIP.
I was in the premium section for the race. So you had people trying to jump in all the time, so you had to be careful. And you had to know what you were doing, because people were trying to watch the race for free, pretty much.
And the thing I hate, you can back me up on this, but we have other people we work with who are on one side as well. With the Oz Open, there's 2 rows you can enter through for one door, and then you get this one person you're working with who has no idea about the rules or the ticketing, just lets anyone in free flow, and then you're just in trouble for the next changeover, or when everyone's meant to be seated, you're in desperation. You know what I mean?
Some of the staff were just, I don't know, they're just don't listen to any of the rules, or they didn't go to any of the briefings. So
Yeah.
they were sort of clueless on what they had to do. So I had someone like letting people, like anyone in, and then there was people sitting on, the stairs, like not the seats, like on the aisles and the stairs.
Yeah, I do.
And there was people sitting there like watching the race. There was like must have been like 20 people like on this aisle like near me, and this girl was just letting anyone go straight in.
That's stiff, mate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she just. I don't even think she looked at the tickets. She just like put her thumbs up and let let them go straight in.
No, that's a bit too far. Yeah. Apart from that, events are like pretty fun because you never know what's gonna happen. Literally, like even with Kevin Hart of the Dave Chappelle things, we're like locking their phones in, and people were getting angry with their watches getting taken off. So I found that pretty comical as well. Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add from the Kevin Hart stuff?
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, as you said, it was like they had to put their phones away, so like
He left it in his pouch.
Yeah, so some of them like were really angry, like, and then some of them tried to sneak in their phones, but then there was like very strict security, so they had no chance of getting their phone in. And even if they did, like they had infrared cameras inside the stadium, so they could like thermo camera on and they could tell like if you had a phone in your pocket without it being pouched. Yeah, but
Fair point.
yeah, that was a different event because I was like actually outside the stadium, so you couldn't actually watch any of this stuff. You just like outside of the stadium. Yeah.
With the weather, you've been to like some crazy places around Australia. Like talking about Cooper Pedy, wasn't that like 40-degree weather? Or
yeah, like the outback was different. Like Cooper Pedy was, it was so hot. It was like when I went from Melbourne to Cooper Pedy, it was like going to like a different country. So it was just hot and dry, and it was just like every day was just like blue sky, like sunny, and it was like all the like buildings were like underground. So it was like because the town was Cooper Pedy was based on like a mining town, so they're like mining opals, and a lot of the town was like the church was underground. Like they had a museum which is like a reincarnation of like what the like lifestyle was like a long time ago. Yeah, it was impressive. Yeah, I was like really impressed. I recommend visiting.
Yeah, and with Cooper Pedy, right? Like, was it obviously sunscreen you put on, but you have to like cover yourself. Yeah, essentially, if you don't cover, you're gonna like burn.
Yeah, well, I'm English, so like, I'll burn. Like, I'll go red. So, I was putting sun cream on like every 2 hours, pretty much, mate. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And speaking about your English background, obviously you're from England, Newcastle. That's like 18 hours away, a long way away. But we're planning on going there, and we've like yesterday we sussed it out, me, Tom, and you met a few of them. But like literally, explain the weather there because it's completely different.
Yeah,
I say Melbourne's cold, but like if I wore my hoodie to Newcastle, you'd say I'd freeze to death, wouldn't I?
Yeah, in the winter for sure. The winter is freezing.
Yeah, we're going next winter. So
yeah, it's cold and wet and it's dark. Like it gets darker like really early. And when I used to work there in the winter, I used to like wake up, it was dark, and then used to finish work and go home and it was dark. So it was. And then the summer can be okay, but it's nothing like compared to an Australian summer. It's still
feels like winter.
It can still be cold. Yeah.
And with the winter, how many layers do I need to have on to not like freeze to death?
4. I reckon 4 minimum. Yeah, mate.
Jeez.
Especially in January when you're visiting.
Yeah. That'll be crazy, mate.
Yeah, it's it can be quite cold.
And we spoke about London obviously a few times before, but is that kind of like the main touristy spot, or are there other areas as well to go to?
Yeah, London's like the biggest tourist attraction in the UK for sure. A lot of people visit London and don't visit the rest of the UK.
Yeah.
So, but London's very different to like the rest of the UK. It's more cosmopolitan and more. There's a lot more things to do there, and it's just a massive city in general.
Yeah.
You never get bored like visiting London, but it's a bit more expensive. And then if you go to like the north of the UK or the north of England, it's a lot more cheaper and it's a lot more, it's a lot more like laid back, I guess. More, it's not as like hectic as London.
Yeah.
It's like busy, you know.
Jeez, I couldn't imagine London. I feel like it would be similar to Melbourne, but like probably just like a lot more people as well.
Oh yeah, like
double.
Like for me, London feels like so busy. Like when you're moving about, like especially on the tube, like on the underground, like it's always so crowded and you don't have your own space and it's so busy.
Jeez. And we had a look at like flights and all that, like from Newcastle to, I think we're planning to go from Italy to Newcastle or something, but it's cheaper to like fly than take the Euro. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Like some of the airfares are like really cheap. Yeah. So like it's not like here where it's quite expensive. Yeah. In Europe, you can fly to like different destinations, like through like I don't know, like Ryanair or like EasyJet. They're like sort of budget airlines. So you don't have to. Yeah, it's much cheaper than like taking the train or taking other methods of transport.
Because the Eurostar are trying to like make the big bucks, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good.
Yeah, they're just overcharging. Yeah.
Oh yeah, shouldn't give them too much of a plug.
Yeah.
And with Newcastle, mate, obviously the Premier League is massive, and you know my team Leicester, we've lost again, so we're deep in relegation. Probably get relegated by the time I go there. The plan is to stay in Newcastle 2 nights. Not even the accommodation list is expensive, mate. So probably just day trip there, stadium tour, then go to London and suss it out. But talk me through your team, Newcastle, because obviously growing up, they were like really good back in the day. Like Shearer played for them and whatnot. But then it's been pretty quiet for like a few years now. And now, you know, you've got the new Qatarian owners and you've signed a few star players. So like, what's that been like as a supporter?
It's like a different sort of era now.
Yeah, it is.
Like before, like when I was growing up, we were always like fighting relegation or like bottom half of the table, and now we're like competing at like the top end of the table. It's like we're signing these players from like, you know, like we signed a striker, Alexander Isak. He was £60 million. Like before that, we were spending like $5 million on like a striker from like the Championship or like a league below. But it's completely different now. It's a completely different club than what it was before, mainly because the money's helped. But the owner before, Mike Ashley, he didn't care. He just wanted to sort of downplay the club. He sort of used it to make his own sort of profit, and he didn't invest in the club enough. He was very much against making the club like, you know, higher up in the league. He just wanted to stay up every year and making profit, and he just didn't care about the club, to be honest. But my dad has a season ticket, so I've always been going for about 10 years.
And with that, like St James's Park, the atmosphere you were telling me is like crazy with all the supporters, especially like when you got like a big derby going on. Tell me like what that is like. Yeah,
it's the best atmosphere in the Premier League, and that's it's biased, but that's my opinion. Like when we play Sunderland, like our main rivals, who are
you hate them,
who are shit. They are shit. They're in the league below, and we haven't played them for like 8 years now.
Yeah,
but when it's Derby Day, like it's just different. Like the atmosphere just increases by like 5 or 10 times, and all the fans are more invested. Well, they're already invested, but the fans there's like rivalry involved, and like a lot of people, like because it's so close by, this like Sunderland and Newcastle, there's the two supporters, like, they hate each other pretty much. So, yeah, there's always, like, animosity and, like, yeah, there's a lot of,
Jeez.
yeah, you just have to beat your rivals, basically, yeah.
And are there like flares involved as such, or not as like with Melbourne when you get a derby going on, the flares and whatnot like gets thrown sometimes.
Yeah, I haven't like, it's not as bad. That's more like a sort of European thing, like flares,
like
but
Italian or I don't know. I don't want to throw
like Italian football is like quite prevalent for that, but it's more like chanting. It's like hostile chanting and. Like when the supporters like go to the match, there's so much police outside the ground. Like,
oh, it's crazy.
There's just police everywhere. Yeah, so the supporters have to like be like escorted into the ground. Yeah, it's crazy, mate. Yeah.
And who's your favourite player?
Bruno Guimaraes, best Premier League player in the league.
That's a big call.
Yeah. Well, best centre mid I've seen at Newcastle
in a while. Yeah.
Probably ever. In my opinion. Yeah, he's that good. Like he is that good. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And what if they make the Champions League next year? You'll be going to a few matches, right?
I hope so. If I can get a ticket.
No, that's good, mate. And just to finish off the soccer chat, I don't want to like the listeners love the soccer, but we got to wrap it up as well. The last question with the soccer is of a football, I should say.
Football.
Yeah. The official name. It's obviously like a big spectacle there, and like the stadium tours, I've heard of like pretty good like bang for your buck for a tourist. So you've been to a few, haven't you? What are they like?
I've been to St James's Park one.
Yeah, obviously,
one. When I went, it was impressive. Like as a tourist, I'd recommend going to like the main ones. I went to Bayern Munich's stadium. That was cool, and the new camp was good as well. I went to that.
So that's Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah, Barcelona and Bayern Munich. They were like insane, and it's like you get to see like the dressing rooms, like all the media, like behind the scenes,
the trophies.
Like I think Barcelona had a museum, so you could see all the trophies like in the trophy cabinets, and you see like all the videos of like Messi like scoring all these different goals.
Oh jeez.
And then I'd recommend like definitely if you have like the money. It's a bit expensive, but it's like you get like behind the scenes like access.
Like you go on the pitch and whatnot.
Yeah, you can go to like the touch line, and I think you can walk on the pitch as well, and you can walk like all around the stadium, and you get to like see all the dressing rooms, and it's a cool experience.
Yeah, I'll definitely do the Leicester one. I have to like if I don't, I'll just like. Can't live with myself. 100%.
In the Championship or the Premier League.
Oh, we'll have to wait and find out. I've still got 8 more match days, so fingers crossed there. You were speaking about like Spain and Germany and whatnot. You've been like across Europe and even Asia as well. But what would you say your kind of top 3 travel destinations you've been on long?
From 3 to 1 or
from
top 3?
Yeah, top down.
I'll go. Number 1 would be. It's a difficult question.
Tough one.
I'd probably go Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah. Like when I went to Hanoi in Vietnam.
That's the capital, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. And it had so much sort of culture, and it was like half of the city was like modernized, then half of the city was like traditional, and had a lot of like nice architecture and traditional buildings, but then there was like a new sort of modernized area of the town, so it was like a hybrid of like modern and traditional sort of style, but the people were so nice, and and then the cost of living so cheap, so you can just buy like I don't know, a beer is like a lot cheaper than when I came to Australia.
$2.
Yeah, like $2-3. Yeah, here it's so much more expensive. Yeah,
we'll get to that later. But yeah, that's I'd love to go there as well in Asia. I haven't been there. And the food there is probably amazing. Yeah, the Burmese are amazing.
Yeah, I loved all the local food. Yeah. It was so nice, and some of the coffee as well was also like really nice. Yeah.
Jeez, yeah. That's Max's number 1 recommendation. What about number 2?
Number 2, I would say, it's just like anywhere in the world, sort of. Yeah. Italy, I reckon.
Oh, we're going there. Yeah.
I love the food and the weather, and I know there's a lot of history about the place as well. But definitely the food is just amazing. And when I went to Rome, I love like looking at the Colosseum and Vatican City, and the sort of Roman Empire sort of like historical links. I really enjoy like looking at all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we studied Italian, so yeah, I'd love to go there for a week or so and just go Colosseum, like Pompeii, those types of areas.
Yeah,
possibly actually.
I've been to Pompeii. Yeah, Pompeii's awesome. Yeah, it's next to the volcano.
Yeah,
Vesuvius. Yeah, and it was really interesting. Yeah.
Is that volcano active or?
Yeah,
I
think it is. Yeah, but it hasn't erupted in like 100+ years or something. So,
yeah, you just gotta be mindful when you're down there, I reckon.
It's pretty safe. Like, they've got I think they have warnings and got the technology now.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny, mate. And number 3.
I think I'll go for. I've got to go to Australia. I've got to go for Melbourne. Yeah,
Melbourne's
I love Melbourne. Yeah, it's so much happening here. So many different events, and you never get bored. It's always there's always something going on.
And on a more serious note, mate, we might move on to like best piece of advice. So this is always a staple, Max. What's the best piece of advice someone's ever given you?
Probably just work hard.
Yeah,
it's kind of simple, but yeah, I guess my dad always has a good work ethic. So if you just work hard and try and I don't know, make sure you have fun and have a good balance in life, but make sure you work hard as well. Enjoy doing watching sports or going to music and or whatever you like, but just make sure you have a good work ethic. Yeah, it's kind of simple, but yeah, my dad always said work hard. So
it's a good one.
Because hard work opens more doors in life, and if you work hard at something you enjoy, you can always pursue that. If it's a degree or a job or even a hobby, you can make that into work and start earning some money. Yeah.
This podcast doesn't feel like work, but it kind of is. But it's always good experience as well. You can put on your resume doing this stuff. So good. We're saying how hard work pays off because similar to your dad, my dad said the same thing, to work hard, and you look back in the long term and it'll pay off. So yeah, that's a really important message. You said, Max, and with working hard, you can party hard as well. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, work hard, play hard, mate.
It's like that song with David Guetta.
Yeah, work hard, play hard, man.
I should have brought that up before, mate, with the music.
Yeah,
that's a good song. Every David Guetta song, I can't lie, gets played at the clubs.
Yeah. I've heard too much David Guetta.
Too much, Too much, yeah. What's your main go-to with traveling tips? Obviously hostels is a big one, but what are some other tips you can give us?
Alcohol. Don't spend too much money going out. It's kind of difficult when you had a few pints and you want to spend more.
Yeah.
But that's for me, that was the most difficult part. But also I guess on food and just day-to-day budgeting, you're gonna have to spend money on activities and stuff you want to do, but you just have to be you just have to have maybe a number in your head and sort of because if you're spending $500 a day, that's kind of not sustainable. So you want to be paying for your accommodation first, and then maybe food, and then activities after that. But it's got to be you probably have to think about it. It depends how much money you have, but if the less money you have, the more obviously the more budgeting you'll have to do.
And you're saying obviously let's say I go to Leicester, it's all right to do a stadium tour, but it's when you start buying like the 2023, 2024 home kit, that's where it's an issue, yeah?
Yeah, like, like Premier League's expensive, so yeah, it'd be like $100 or like £60 for a shirt, I guess. So yeah, it's not cheap. Yeah,
just gotta focus on watching the match, really, not the other stuff.
Yeah, if you watch the match, is more cheap than buying the shirt.
No, it's really good, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward to travelling, mate. Probably catch you there in a while. So yeah, really appreciate you coming on for a chat. Yeah, what do you think of the chat today?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, actually. Yeah, it's been an honor. It's been an honor, mate. Yeah. First time I've done a podcast, so I hope it was okay. But
hopefully not the last time you do a podcast. Yeah. You'll be back on the show when we're in the UK, mate. 100%.
Yeah, you got to bring it on tour.
The UK boys on tour.
Yeah. Get the mic in Newcastle, mate.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, appreciate it, Max.
No worries.
Legend, mate. That was a good podcast.